Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Southeast notes, Heat picks, Jovic, Banchero, Harris, Valanciunas. The Heat have just one first-round pick available to trade unconditionally, with two others having been traded away to acquire Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier, Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald writes. The only picks Miami can trade unconditionally are their 2030 or 2031 picks, but not both due to the Stepien rule. This complicates matters for the Heat as they approach what could be an eventful deadline, given Butler's uncertain future with the team. The Heat don't generally look to trade stars for draft picks, but acquiring win-now players in a deal that sends Butler away might be more difficult without many tradable picks. Draft picks matter in the trade landscape that saw the Knicks surrender 5 first-rounders for Mikal Bridges this year and the Timberwolves give up 4 in exchange for Rudy Gobert in 2022. The Heat could, of course, recoup picks in a potential Butler trade, but Miami hasn't traded a player for a pick, without giving one up, since 2009. We have more from the Southeast Division. Heat forward Nikola Jovic sprained his ankle after rejoining the rotation on December 12 and was sidelined for Monday's game against Detroit. However, as Chang writes in another story, it doesn't appear Jovic will miss much time with the injury, as he's listed as questionable for Friday's game against the Thunder. Magic star Paolo Banchero has missed 23 games with a torn abdominal muscle and he's continuing to progress, but hasn't yet been able to participate in contact drills thus far, Jason Beattie of the Orlando Sentinel writes. His spirits have been great, Magic coach Jamal Mosley said. He understands that it is a process, and does he want to be on the court? Absolutely. He's done a great job of responding to that, to staying engaged, to communicating, being in and communicating in film sessions, all of those little things that he's able to do, that he can control, he's doing a great job of it. According to Beattie, Banchero has been able to do ball handling and jogging at his own pace. After being upgraded to questionable for Thursday's game against the Thunder earlier today, Magic guard Gary Harris ended up missing the matchup, Beattie writes in the same story. However, Harris's return to the floor appears imminent. He hasn't played since November 25 and is averaging 4.1 points per game in 17 outings this season. The Wizards' front office continues to emphasize its primary goal of player development this season. That includes playing rookies heavy minutes while some veterans are coming off the bench. However, the Wizards were upfront with center Jonas Valanciunas this summer about their plans before he agreed to a 3-year contract with the team, according to the Washington Post's Varun Shankar. I know what's going on. I know we have a bright future in front of us, so we got to keep following the plan, keep working, keep grinding, keep getting better, Valanciunas said. I'm an older guy, but in this environment I got to be young. According to Shankar, other veterans like Marvin Bagley III are also on board with the plan. Miami Heat land underrated $20 million center in mock trade to alter starting lineup. The Miami Heat are hoping to remain competitive in the East before they eventually lose Jimmy Butler to trade or free agency. While the Heat are gauging the market for potential Butler deals, they don't need to rush to a decision. Instead of moving off Butler for unconvincing assets that leave them stranded in the middle of the East, they can make a move to inch closer to the top by making a statement to win. The Chicago Bulls are one of the teams stuck in the middle of the East with a roster that's good enough to compete for the play-in tournament but not good enough to compete in the playoffs. Nikola Vucevic has rediscovered his pre-Chicago form when he was a 2-time All-Star, leading to the Bulls potentially offloading the 34-year-old center to the right team. The Heat can finally move Bam Adebayo to power forward after slight sightings of an improved jump shot and him excelling as a free-roam defender instead of being responsible for providing verticality at the rim as the only capable big man on the roster. Vucevic would greatly enhance the Heat's middling offense while potentially unlocking Adebayo to reach great heights. The Heat have had a relatively stable core for the last few seasons, with the team effortlessly plugging in new rotational players whenever anyone leaves. That won't be as easy if Butler leaves, so instead of throwing away what could be a productive year with Butler on the roster by trading him, the Heat makes this win-now move to maximize this season by assembling a talented collection of top-end stars to share production as Butler's role is lessened. Vucevic is averaging 21.1 points and 9.6 rebounds this season. He's arguably been the best player on the Bulls this season and would be a phenomenal addition to the Heat. He adds a new dimension to their post offense, with the ability to plug and off-ball as well with his diverse skill set, decent passing, and shot-making ability. It would also lead to Adebayo becoming the team's power forward, freeing him up defensively. Bam will have an opportunity to up his offensive production after having a tough season. He has been showing flashes of a jump shot, so the addition of Vucevic will force him to become more comfortable with using it in games. Torrey Craig would be a great veteran addition on the wing as an alternate power forward option in lineups where either Vucevic or Adebayo are on the bench. He's averaging 5.2 points and 2.2 rebounds on 38.9% from three this season. The 34-year-old Vucevic doesn't fit any timeline the Bulls are on. They're not looking to contend now and don't look to be in a position to contend in the next season or two given their complicated salary situation and another season where their East rivals will have a better shot at a lottery pick than them. This move allows them to start the process of rebuilding through new talent. Duncan Robinson is averaging 11.1 points this season but will be on an expiring $19 million contract next season. Given his shooting ability, the Bulls could add additional value in a Robinson trade this summer or before the deadline. The bigger get is Kel'el Ware, the 20-year-old the Heat drafted with the number 15 pick in the 2024 NBA Draft. Ware is a talented young big who hasn't gotten a big opportunity to shine on the competitive Heat. He'll have room to grow on the Bulls where he could realize his potential as a starting caliber two-way big with solid shooting ability. The gaggle of second-round picks makes the deal easier to commit to as well, with the Bulls potentially overplaying their hand if they insist on a talented young player and a first-round pick. The Heat will need to make a pretty major stylistic change to accommodate Vucevic alongside Adebayo, but it would be worthwhile. It'll force more perimeter responsibilities on Adebayo, who'll be expected to emerge as a franchise face for the Heat if Butler leaves. His defense is already among the best in the NBA, and having a genuine 7-footer in the paint will help him expand his mid-range and perimeter shooting skills. Warriors predicted to acquire Jimmy Butler by parting with promising package. The Golden State Warriors are in the market for a star to pair alongside Stephen Curry while the Miami Heat are listening to offers for star Jimmy Butler. So it makes perfect sense why Butler named the Warriors as one of his 4 preferred destinations. NBA insider Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated detailed how the Warriors could acquire the 6-time All-Star in a blockbuster trade. "I could see Golden State taking a swing," Mannix said on the Bill Simmons podcast. Like Golden State and Denver are the two teams that aren't all that concerned about Jimmy Butler next year. It's all about this year. You want to maximize a window. If Golden State can get him for some combination of Andrew Wiggins and Brandon Podziemski, then you'd probably jump at that if you're the Warriors. The Warriors were unwilling to move on from Podziemski in the offseason for Paul George, but the lackluster start to his sophomore season may have changed their mentality. He is averaging 7.7 points and 4.6 rebounds on 37.6% shooting. If the Heat are strong in one area, it's developing talented players to their full potential. Pair this with a solid forward in the former number 1 pick, and a trade could work out for both parties. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.